everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. For today's video, I wanted to do a summer bridal makeup look. Now that we're into July, I don't know about you, but we have so many weddings this summer to go to. I think we're at the age where everyone we know is getting married. Summer bridal looks are something I've always loved to do because I think you can do so much softness and, you know, fall. I got married in the fall, and so for me, my bridal makeup was a little bit like more fall themed, more fall colors. So it had some deeper eyeshadows, some deeper blush colors I used, a little bit deeper of a lip. But summer brides, the makeup I think is just so soft and like sweet, you know what I mean? That's the only word I can think of to describe it. But it's just a really pretty soft makeup look. So I wanted to do a summer bridal makeup look today, but along the way give you some tips and some ideas on how to apply the makeup. So if you are a bride who is doing this makeup for your wedding, some kind of tips to look out for and products that you're using and ways that you want to apply the makeup so you can make sure it lasts all day. And so that way you're not worrying about touching it up or having to carry products with you, that sort of thing. The first thing to help your makeup last all day is to use a primer. And the really important thing to remember about a primer, and actually anything that you're putting on your face that day, is you want to be able to avoid SPF in products as much as possible. Because SPF in products is what gives that white filter. So if you ever look back at photos of yourself when you know you've had like SPF on, or if you've had products that have SPF on, or if you've just seen like you have white spots on your face or like kind of an overall white filter in different parts of your face or maybe overall, that's probably because you had a product with SPF. A lot of foundation, a good amount of primers, a lot of concealers actually have SPF in them, which is great for every day, but for a wedding, and especially your wedding when you're going to be taking lots of photographs, you don't want to have, looking back on your photographs, white filters all over your face in every picture. So you want to find primers and foundations and products that don't have an SPF. I'm going to use the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. I can't even say it. Because I find this gives my skin a pretty dewy glow where it's not actually dewy. It just has a really nice glow to it. The foundation I'm going to use in a minute is very matte on purpose, but I still want to have a healthy glow to my skin, and I find this product gives me that glow. I'm gonna let this settle into my skin, and I'm going to move on to doing my eyes first today. I want to do my eyes first just because I want as flawless a makeup look as possible. So if I end up with any fallout, I'll be able to take care of that easily because I won't have any foundation on yet. So the first thing I'm going to do is my brows. You know I love my hourglass, so I'm just going to use my hourglass and do my brows. You also want to make sure you're priming your eyelids. My favorite eyelid primer is my MAC Paint Palette in Painterly, which is just a, for me, a skin-toned color, and I'm taking it on my eyelids, into the corners, and I'm going up and kind of mixing the color concealer I use to carve out my brows, so it's all kind of a seamless look here. Now, I personally prefer a softer wedding look. If you want to go all out on your wedding and do a phenomenal smoky eye and bright red lips, girl, good for you. You show them. Me, I like something a little softer. That's okay. There's a couple of palettes I kind of always go back to and rely on for brides, and I really love using either or both of the Tartelette palettes from Tarte, Tartelette and Tartelette in Bloom, because they're very soft in terms of colors, and there's a variety of colors, and you can do very soft looks or you can do something a little smokier with both of these palettes. And I just think they're really beautiful palettes. The colors last, the colors stay a long time. I also really like using on brides the Naked palettes. In particular, I like Naked 2 a lot because it is the browns and the taupes and some peaches, and that looks really pretty. My favorite to use on brides is the Naked 3 palette because of the rosy pink tones, and I think this is a palette that typically will look good on most people. I especially love using this palette in the fall, but I'm going to use this palette today and do a summer look with it and show you how I do that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up where's my brush? my E40 from Sigma, which is a big fluffy blending brush. I'm going to pick up the color Limit, which is this light pink. Tap off the excess, and I'm going to run this in through my crease and the outer V as a transition shade. And it just gives it a nice soft look to start with. Pick up a little bit more. And I'm concentrating the color on the outer corner and then taking my brush and pushing into the inner corner with whatever's on the brush. That way I'm getting most of the color payoff on the outer corner, but I'm still getting some on the inner corner, which is what I want. And using this big fluffy brush, that's pushing. Remember, the rule of thumb with brushes is the bigger the brush, the less concentrated, the less dense the color payoff is going to be. So using this bigger brush, I'm really fanning the color out. If I were to use a smaller brush and use this color, you would see the color payoff of it a lot more. It'd be a lot stronger of a color, but I don't want it to be a stronger of a color. I like this light color right now. Then I'm going to take the color Nooner, which is this color right here. It's also matte, but it's a bit deeper of a color. And I'm using a Sigma E25, so a smaller brush. And I'm just going to place this in the outer corner and start pushing it in. I'm pushing it in onto the lid and into the crease. But again, I'm really blending it out in the outer V, and this is helping to create a very soft look. Remember, blend till you're bored, and that's what gets you the soft look. Because you don't, certainly on a wedding, you don't want any harsh lines, or, I mean, even if you're doing a smoky eye, you know, you want it to be very soft. You can still have a very soft smoky eye. So see that versus that? It's just a hint of color, but it's deepened the eye up tremendously. Next, I'm going to use a Sigma E56 brush, which is a flat shader brush. I'm going in with this color Trick right here, which is a pinky, almost rose goldy shimmer. I'm going to place this on the lid. When you add a shimmer to the lid, it helps to brighten up the eye. And when you brighten up the eye, it gives the appearance that the eye is bigger and more awake, which is definitely something we would want on a wedding. I'm not taking it past my crease. I'm taking it into the crease and that's it. Or I'm taking it up to the crease, not into the crease. I'm taking it up to the crease and stopping there. I'm also taking it into some of the color I put on the side there, so it is going to be all blended together. Going to come back in with my E40, my big blending brush, and back into the color Light, which was that real pale pink we started off with, and just work on softly blending again. Just because I want this to be a very soft look. And so, again, you soften by blending. Now I think I want to add a hint of a darker color just to the very outer corner, so I'm going to come in with the color Dark Side, which is a very deep purple. Almost gray, and I'm picking up like very, very small amount and tapping off my brush, and then I'm just going to place this right in the outer V here, where I want it, just very lightly in the outer V, using a pencil brush, just something very small, and now I'm kind of coming in with it and blending just to get it going. And then I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab a brush here. This is a MAC 217 blending brush, and just softly blend. And so you can see this little hint of black just really, really softly intensifies the whole look. And that's what we want. We want something very soft. Okay, now I'm just taking a pencil brush, and I'm going to use the color, let's rub it off, Strange, which is right on the end here. It's this nice white. Tap off some excess, and I'm going to use this up along my brow bone and in my inner corner. Before I do any actual liner on my lashes or on my lids, I'm going to take this MAC, I think it's a 263, the number is kind of worn off there, but it's just this small angled brush. And I'm going to actually take the color Dark Side, which is what we use in the very outer corner here. I'm going to pick some of this color up, tap it off, and I'm going to use this just to start my eyeliner. What this will do is keep the look very soft and won't give us any harsh eyeliner lines. For eyeliner, I'm going to be using my Sigma Wicked gel liner and this Sigma E06 winged liner brush. I like using gel liner on brides because I actually think it lasts a pretty long time. I think it lasts well. It doesn't smudge, and it's also really easy to create a very thin, tiny line. I feel like for me personally, I have the most control when I'm doing eyeliner with a brush. So even if I am using a liquid liner, I will try and do it with a brush if I can. So I'm just going to pull some of this out. And I'm actually putting it onto the back of my hand to help clean off what's on the brush. Because like I said, I want this to be very soft, very thin line. So I'm going to just right up against my lash line, start placing this on. Now I'm just going to go back in and touch up right along my lashes. And I want to do this because I don't want any gaps in terms of, like, I don't want to see the bottom of my lashes. Like, I want it all darkened in, so when I'm looking at pictures, I don't see gaps in my lashes or see big white spots there. So I just want to come back and just softly fill all this in right up in the lash line here. So for whatever reason, I can't find my waterproof mascara right now. Sorry. But you definitely want to make sure you're using a waterproof mascara because, I don't know, I cried at my wedding. My mom cried. My best friend cried. Like, people cry. I mean, it happens. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Lash Sensational and grab my lash curlers. And curling your lashes first is just going to help your normal lashes blend into your false lashes a lot better. So we're just going to go mascara ourselves up. And I really want to push it onto the bottom of the lash line because that's going to help intensify the lashes and get rid of any of those dark or those light spaces, those light gaps. So I'm going to put on some false lashes next, but I want them to be very natural. For me, personally, I don't have very long lashes or very thick lashes, so using false lashes helps to open my eye up and to make it look like my eye is bright and wide and open, and that's something I definitely want for my wedding day. So I'm going to use these from House of Lashes, and they are called the Au Naturel lashes, so they're natural looking. For foundation, I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation. I'm in the shade 120. I'm using this foundation because of these little letters right there, the HD. Any makeup product that uses HD is going to be good for pictures. It's going to go on smoothly, it's going to look good in pictures, it's going to create kind of a filter on your face, and I find the best way to do this is with a damp beauty blender. Then I want to hide the dark under eye circles I've got, and so for that I'm going to use, this is the Bobbi Brown Corrector in the color Bisque, and it's going to cancel out the dark. So I'm not entirely sure what happened to the sound as I was recording this. Like, my microphone just stopped working, so, oh well, we'll improvise. So next I'm concealing underneath my eyes, just with a concealer. This is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and I'm just drawing it in a triangle underneath my eyes. The reason I'm drawing a triangle is because that's how you fan it out to get it to look the most natural, so you avoid that white clump right underneath your eyes. If you've ever seen like people, like stars and stuff with a real white patch under their eyes, it's because they didn't fan it out enough. And I'm just using a damp beauty blender. Then I'm going to use my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the color Vanilla, and I'm using that as kind of a highlight. And the reason I'm using a separate concealer is this one's a little bit more brightening. I don't want something super bright under my eyes. I do want it in other places like my T-zone. And just, again, using my damp beauty blender. Then moving on to powder, this is the Ben Nye powder in Banana, and I'm just using my damp beauty blender again, just to help bake underneath my eyes. To set the rest of my face, I'm using my Laura Mercier translucent powder because this powder is pretty fine for a loose powder, and so it's not going to make me look very cakey, especially when flash photography happens. Then I'm going to use my Hoola by Benefit bronzer just to warm up my face. I like this bronzer because it's soft and I find like it's the most natural looking on me. Since this is for a summer makeup look, you oftentimes want to look like you are tanned and bronzed and glowing without caking on the bronzer. So one of my favorite products to use is the Chanel Soleil de Tan, or Soleil Tan, I don't remember what it's called. I'll link it below. But it is a goldeny, bronzy powder, and so it goes on very creamy and creates a really natural glowy bronze. For blush, I'm going to be using the Tarte 12 Hour Amazonian Clay blushes in the color Fearless. I chose this blush because it is such a soft, pretty, corally pink color. And you'll see I'm really kind of going to town on that blush. And that's because I want to make sure it lasts all day, and it also shows up in pictures. Because sometimes when you do like a lot of flash photography, you look washed out. So you want to actually build up your makeup a little more than normal than you might normally wear. And you want to keep that in mind when you're choosing your blush color, because you don't want to choose a color that is so intense to begin with that you're only going to need a little bit, because you want to really be able to build it up a bit so that it can last throughout the day and show up throughout the day. Now I do like to add a little bit of highlighter. This is probably the one time in my life I don't like to go overboard with highlighter, because I do want, again, this to look soft and natural. And these are pictures I'm going to have forever. And so when I'm 80 years old and looking back at the pictures, I don't want to be like, why does my face look wet from highlighter? Any other day I'd be fine with that. So I'm just using some Champagne Pot from Jaclyn Hill and placing it very lightly on my cheekbones, above my eyebrows, my nose, my cupid's bow, and my chin. Just going to go back into the Naked 3 palette, and using that same MAC angled brush, I'm going to go back with the color Dark Side and run that underneath my bottom lashes about halfway down, and then just coat them with mascara. That's going to help create a nice soft look. Before I put on any lip product, I'm going to use the Urban Decay setting spray just to make sure I blend in all the powders. It's going to help everything settle, and it's also going to help my makeup last all day. For lips, I'm going to start off by lining my lips, and this is the shade Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury. I like this particular lip liner the best because it's super easy to overdraw your lips with. And I'm doing that slightly just on the top lip. I don't have much of a top lip, so I want to create the illusion that I have a bit of a fuller lip. So right at the cupid's bow, I'm drawing slightly over the lip line, right onto my skin, over the lips. And that's just helping, again, to create the illusion that my lips are bigger. Then for lipstick, I'm using the color Mare by MAC, which is this real pretty, just real soft pink, almost rosy pink, but it's very light. Then over top, I'm just going to add some gloss. This is MAC Oyster Girl, and it's just one of my favorite glosses. It's just natural looking, goes in nicely with most shades. And here's the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys!